KFUG Community Radio. Good afternoon once again. Paul Critz still here. We are on the record. It is 9 minutes into the 1 o'clock hour, and we have been, if you were listening before the song, before the Clash song, we have been joined live in the studio, Amanda and myself, by Linda Sutter, candidate, 5th District Board of Supervisors, Del Norte County. Scoot up on that microphone there for us, Linda. How you doing today?
I'm doing well.
I'm sorry you rushed here. You told me it took you 3 minutes to get from your house, and that's like, and I said, that's not safe. And
Well, it's on the highway, so.
Yeah, okay. So everybody, I don't know, everybody knows Linda Sutter, but let's go back. Tell us about yourself. When people say, hey, who are you, Linda? What do you say?
I say, well, I'm a 34-year resident of Del Norte County.
Mm-hmm.
And in the past 16 years, I've been attending government meetings. And I do make changes as an unelected. But the reason why I'm running is I want to see more change.
Okay, all right. So let's. What sort of changes have you been able to affect as?
So, the first thing that I affected change with is the Del Norte County Fairgrounds,
mm-hmm.
because they were spending a lot of money, and there was an article that had came out that the grand jury.
Thank you.
The grand jury.
I love the finger snap.
Could not. They said that there was almost $1 million missing out of that quarter-cent sales tax that everybody's paying for.
Mm-hmm.
And so I decided, well, I'm going to find out where it is. So I started digging and asking for credit card statements and
mm-hmm.
bank account statements, and I started, from scratch. I don't know what I'm looking for, but anyway, I got the attention of the head guy down in Sacramento that oversees all the county fairs. His name is John Quiroz. And I sent him a letter, and I said...
Is it like he oversees like the ag districts or something?
Yes.
Is that what... Okay, gotcha.
Yeah. And so I wrote a letter, and I didn't get a response, so I drove down there. I got a response.
That's one way to do it.
That is, right?
Did it take longer than 3 minutes?
Yes, it did. And what ended up happening is they assigned 5 auditors to come up here from Sacramento, and they went through the records and found they did not get a glowing report. Let's
mm-hmm.
just say that.
Yeah.
And that affected change.
What sorts of change? What did they do?
They quit spending the money.
Well, that would be the first thing. So was it a matter, now I don't remember how this was resolved. Was there a smoking gun, or was it just a matter of a lot of little nickel and dime kind of sloppiness?
No, it wasn't nickel and dime. There was thousands of dollars going out. I mean, it was outrageous
mm-hmm,
how much money was going out every month, and they didn't keep supporting documentation, so they got dinged on that. They didn't keep track of their personnel records, time records, and so people were getting paid, and they weren't subtracting it from the hours.
Gotcha. Okay.
And,
okay.
I mean, there was several things
mm-hmm.
that got dinged on. So, but and they got dinged on the Brown Act
mm-hmm.
because originally they had the 41st district.
Yeah.
And then the new elected Parks and Recreation Fair thing. I don't know what it's really called anymore, but they were both having.
Oh, was it the Fair Board? Is that what it was?
The Fair Board and the 41st district board. So they were having meetings together, but one is monitored by the Brown Act, and the other one is monitored by the Bagley-King Act.
Oh, no. I know nothing about the Bagley-King Act.
Well,
wow.
Yeah. And so I got that stopped because they were having their meetings as one entity instead of two. And so, that was my first deal that I affected change with. The
mm-hmm.
second one is I started investigating the school district because somebody caught my eye, wrote me a letter, and I started doing the same thing with them, and they were a little more resistant. And I submitted a writ of mandate but I withdrew it because it was Easter time, and it was like, I thought because my cease and desist letter wasn't the way it should have been, that it would affect the outcome of the case. And so I just withdrew it.
Okay, yeah. You don't
But
want to
this
foul
time, I learned from all these mistakes, right? And this time I'm not. I've got a writ of mandate against the tri-agency. And I plan to, my ultimate goal is to have it dissolved. Because
So, can you just shine some light on the tri-agency? And I'll say, for our listeners, but I'm just lost as to what the I mean, it comes about because of the tsunami in '64, right? The tri-agency originally, wasn't it?
No.
That was the joint powers.
1976.
Okay, all right. So, what was it meant to do, and how has it failed in its mission?
Originally, it was meant for economic development.
Okay.
As an economic development authority. And up until, from 1976 until, 2009, it ran smoothly. No problems. But then in 2009, things start happening.
Okay.
By 2012, Bill Renfro, who was a director of the tri-agency, sent a letter to all the board members and said, hey, we're $4,000, minus $4,000 in account. If you can't pay me, basically, I got to shut the doors of the tri-agency. And that's what happened, excuse me. And so what happened was there was a bunch of loans given to businesses here in town.
Oh, go ahead. No, go ahead. I don't, this is, take a sip.
And
Be careful.
oh God,
And then you go smooth. When you
it really is water.
It is water. I can attest to that.
Okay. Oh, good. Where was I?
You were coughing, so you picked up right up where you left
Okay.
off. No, Bill Renfro, the tri-agency, they're running on money. They're gonna have to close the door.
Several businesses that received that money
That's
failed on their loans.
right. Okay.
And so the tri-agency.
Let's take it. I don't mean to put you through this. If you need, we can play a song. If you need to take a moment, drink some water, and let your voice settle.
Yeah,
Okay,
go
all right.
ahead, blaze on.
Well, Amanda and I can talk. So,
What's up? How you doing?
so Amanda, why do you want to run for Board of Supervisors? Boy, that's I would never do.
Did you want me to answer that question? Because,
Yeah. Answer it for you. Wait.
Because I love this community and I grew up here and I believe in it and I want to see it grow stronger through the strength and where we overlap on common ground.
Wow. Okay, that's great. So, do other people just generally have an answer ready for that question?
I think I might be a nerd.
Okay, all right. That might be a little participatory democracy nerd. Yeah, sure.
I got
Okay.
my first commendation from the Board of Supervisors when I was 16. Thank you very much.
For what?
For my efforts for betterment. Ironically, I got anti-tobacco signs put up around the local playgrounds. Yep. Got them to enforce that. Got signage up. I was involved in Friday Night Live and the Youth Leadership Council, and we made that happen.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
There you go.
But enough about me.
No follow-up questions in that regard. No, that's that's right. All right. So you doing okay?
I am.
Okay. So the tri-agency.
So basically, what happened was the failed businesses in town didn't pay back the money,
Right.
and so then what happened is in 2018, Chris Howard started receiving letters from USDA saying, "Hey, you guys owe us a bunch of money, and if you don't pay it, we're going to put you on a list, and you can't get grants."
Oh, yikes.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, and that went in one ear and out the other. So then, let's fast forward to 2022, because everything's still, nobody's doing anything.
Uh-huh.
So in 2022, they decided the tri-agency, which is the city, the county, and the harbor district. Well, we need to have a joint meeting, and we need to decide to pay for this. So in October 2023, they had or 2022, they had a joint meeting with the city, county, and harbor.
Mm-hmm.
And everybody chipped in and paid off the $290,000 to USDA.
Okay, I remember that. Yeah.
Okay. Well, I have an issue with that because a tri-agency is supposed to be an independent, standalone agency, and they're not supposed to be the tri-agency doesn't depend on us bailing them out.
And is that where the money came from?
Yeah, came
Okay.
from public funds.
Okay.
So then in July of 2023, they decided, well, we're not going to dissolve the tri-agency. We're going to resurrect it. We're going to take an additional $110,000. And I'm like, no. What for?
Yeah.
They had no strategic purpose or plan. And the only thing they were hanging on to was offshore wind farms, which is known to destroy marine life. It's known to destroy fishing and commercial and sport fishing. And I'm like, no.
Well, and separate from all of those concerns with offshore wind, you've also, I mean, is there any connection between the tri-agency, the city and the county and the harbor and that whole thing? I mean, it's just happened.
The only person that's going to benefit from any kind of money for offshore winds would be the harbor. And so I don't understand, basically, is why they want to continue the tri-agency without a strategic purpose for that.
Right. I see that. Okay, yeah.
Okay, because you can't sustain a county, city, and a harbor off the backs of taxpayers.
No,
You
that's
can't.
from reaching into
and
the
that's
funds.
what they're doing.
Wow. Okay.
And because they have no vision.
So that's okay. That's a terrific resume of being involved in the and not just being. It's one thing to be involved and to get up into public comments and mouth off. It's another thing to do the homework and the digging and to write letters and all of these hours. I bet. What then drove you after all of the? Now we talked before. Let me ask it on the air because I don't remember what's been on the air and what's not been on the air so far. The
What drove?
have you? No. What have you run for? You've run for other office, right?
I ran for city council. I've ran for
The harbor district.
harbor, and I ran for board of supervisors.
Okay.
before.
Okay. Did you?
And I think basically people just don't know. They didn't know at that time who I am and what I've done or what I'm capable of doing. And so.
So why run now? Why are you running against Dean now?
Because I'm running against Dean Wilson. And in 1 year, he consistently voted against his constituents. He voted against his constituents when they said, we want the tri-agency dissolved. He said, oh, we need the tri-agency. He voted his constituents whenever they said, well, we don't want to have anything to do with the wind farms. And this happened to me. He doesn't care. Our sewer user rates were increased 245% instead of anybody, not one board member, looking into saying, where'd the money go that's being collected for our lift stations? They just rubber stamped it, 245%. Now, I think eventually that's going to be about $150 a year onto your property taxes.
Wow. Okay.
And there is one other thing. It's not coming to me right now. But,
Try the snapping. That seems to work before.
but after that, I just told him in open forum, I said, you're not going to, I'm not going to allow you to go unopposed. I said, you voted against your constituents, which means that he doesn't have the understanding that we're the ones paying his paycheck.
Well, that's
see.
I understand. That's one way to put it. There seems to be.
It was the budget. The third thing was
the budget. Well, okay, we'll come back to the budget
yeah.
and transparency in the budget process.
There
right?
was no transparency in the budget, and he voted against having a workshop for the budget,
Right,
and that
right.
that sent me over the top.
That seems to have angered a lot of people here in the country. Yeah.
They should be angry because these fools up here are just misusing funds, and let me tell you why. Okay, Paul's like, oh
I was
my
just
God.
pointed right at me. I'm like, okay, yeah, sure.
At the last Board of Supervisor meeting, Darren Short, Chris Howard, and Valerie, I love Valerie to death. I think she's the only one working on the board, actually.
Wow.
But they went to Sacramento to an inauguration for Senator McGuire.
Okay.
Okay. Hey, that's cool, fine. But they came back and said, we want the taxpayers to pay for that. No, you don't. You do not go down and you do not stay at $300 hotels and get your fancy dinners and pay for the taxpayers when we've got 46 to 62% of our people living here are on some form of assistance.
Right.
How many of those families get to go to a fancy hotel or have a fancy dinner?
Yeah, right.
Come on now.
No.
That's
I agree with that. That's
I
something.
do not believe in pissing away our money.
Mm-hmm.
And it just makes me angry when I see this happening. And somebody will say, well, how are you going to stop it? Well, you just watch me. Because I got it stopped at the Board of Supervisors on Tuesday.
Stop. Okay, what? What's this mean? What do you do? Are you just saying tune in? Is this like a...
No.
Okay, what are you going to do?
It was literally stopped. Somebody made a motion. Nobody made a second.
Wow.
Done.
Okay.
And done.
Huh. Just
Yeah.
because you were making noise and saying, I see what you guys are doing, right?
Well, it wasn't just me that got up and spoke on that. I mean, Sam Straight got up and spoke, and I don't know if anybody else did or not, but yeah, it was like, mm-mm. Oh no, we're not gonna do that.
Wow.
Not today.
Oh man. So now I want to go back to a previous point you made about constituency and being responsible to your constituents. In my experience, there's two kinds of actors, right? There's two kinds of politicians. There are ones that have a vision that they bring to the electorate.
Whatever.
Electorate. There you go. Go ahead, blow your nose. And the that was so good in the headphones. That was great. So they bring to the electorate and they go, hey, look, you elected me. This is my vision. This is what I'm going to do. And then there are others who are like, no, I'm going to listen to the constituency and I'm going to do what I'm told because I'm a servant up here. And it seems most politicians kind of straddle the fence between those two. So do you come down more on? I mean, do you have? Like I'm going to listen to the constituents and do what it seems my constituents want me to do, even if I don't believe it? Or
Well, it's about your constituents, isn't
Okay.
it? It's not about what your personal agenda is. It's about your constituents. And, I mean, how much louder do fishermen have to be before they say, we don't want offshore winds? It's going to ruin our livelihoods, our jobs, and it's going to kill the marine life. And that doesn't seem to sink in. Oh, we're just going to play go along, get along kind of game, and the hell with what you people think. No, I have a problem with that.
sure, I can. So yeah, and fishermen live like really close to the bone anyway, and even more so now than ever. Is there any change that Del Norte can affect? How involved are we in the whole process of offshore wind? It seems like it's just happening to us, and we don't really have a say.
Listen, I've been doing some research, and I think Humboldt's the only one that's going along to get along, but there are, there's a whole lot of stuff that has to happen for wind farms can even get generated out here or even started. And there's a whole lot of hearings, there's a whole lot of meetings.
Some of the technology even isn't worked out yet, right?
That's right. It's not been successful on the East Coast at all. There's been, and even if you look up the BOEM website, they even say it affects the marine life, and we would have to do this, and we'd have to do that in order for it to work. And they're just studying it. They don't even have the answers yet.
No, I get you with that, and I do agree
Our
with that
water
as
is
well.
far more deeper on this side than it is over on the east side. My understanding is.
Were you talking about east side? What? Where? What?
East Coast.
Oh, okay. I didn't know what you were pointing at when you did that. And it seems to me too that what's really going on is the sale of the leases. That's the big deal, right? For the federal government selling the leases, and I'm like, okay, this is just big government or big business and government again. I get it, but it just seems to me, and everybody points out, oh, this is going to be bad for marine life and bad for the environment. That hasn't existed in a vacuum, and the marine life and the environment out there has not just been sitting out there pristine, and all of a sudden this is going to happen. There's fisheries dying. There's a whole bunch of things going on because of environmental degradation that has occurred because of what's going on right now. So it seems to me a lot of people are throwing that out like we're living in paradise and this is going to undo it when we're already experiencing environmental degradation for other reasons way before wind. But
exactly.
It does seem like I don't trust it. I'm not against it, but I don't trust it.
Well, if you want wind farms, go to Pacific Shores.
Yeah.
Come on,
I was just
down.
out there today.
I know
sure.
there's some red-legged frogs out there, and the environmentalists have a problem with that because they didn't want to extend the airport runways because of the red-legged frog. And but I mean.
Yeah. I know.
Hey,
yeah. No, I see what you say. I see the concern.
I mean, and what about the old landfill? Can't you use them out there? Can't you build on top of that? Or how about this? How about we use incinerators at our waste site, and that generates electricity, and the ash you could use in concrete and asphalt. And
I don't know how many people would be down for an incinerator out by the lake. I'm not sure if I would be down for an incinerator.
Yeah, well,
out by
I
the
mean,
lake
over
either.
here.
Okay, yeah. Oh, in my neighborhood? Yeah, no, that's So, all right. So, transparency in the budgeting process. I never even knew this until just recently. $200 million is what Del Norte County gets and spends every year. So, what would you like to see changes made in the budgeting process? I know that you're big in the transparency. You want people involved. You want the citizenry involved.
Well, let me give you an example. When Sue Maston and Valerie were both on the board for that 1 year, they managed to persuade the other board members to have a workshop. That was a 6-hour workshop that I attended. And some of the things that came out in that workshop was appalling. And one of those things was the fact that our sheriff's department had an antiquated computer system, 27 years old. So they couldn't even...
It's like one of the first. What was it?
Yeah.
They've changed a bit in 27 years. They've changed a bit in 7 years.
Damn you, Tandy.
But the thing, we would never know that. And we would never know how bad it is for our sheriff's department unless that came out in a workshop, which it did.
Yeah, good point.
So that's why the transparency thing is so important, is whenever you get these different department heads over different whatever it is, and they come in and say, well, this is what we'd like to have or what we don't have, then that's how you find out.
Right.
How come this is antiquated? There's no excuse for that.
Let me look. So you brought this, the vision for District 5, and I've been reading over this. And I do have one criticism.
Okay.
Okay, so.
That's okay.
And it's one word, and I'm just going to say the word. teepees.
I didn't know what you called them. Well, what are they supposed to be called?
It's the plank houses is what they built. And it's,
What?
It's so
They
the
weren't
vision for
teepees?
no, they didn't do teepees.
That was a
No.
Plains thing.
That was the Plains Indians. Who? The Indians.
Oh,
Indians
well,
of the
I'm
Plains.
from the
Oh, well,
Midwest.
maybe you brought. Okay, so.
I mean, I graduated
Those are
in
the
North
native-
Dakota. I don't
those are the
know.
Native
we got
Americans
lots
you
of
grew up
tribes there, so
All right. So I do, this is something actually that I do like the leaning into the cultural tourism aspect of that, though. Just
Yeah.
about having. I was when there was a meeting years ago. It was at the cultural center, and it was talking about when they were first bringing out the beachfront park, big huge master plan, and they had that one picture, that one map they'd walk around with still in the frame because it was the only one they had, and they'd take it off the wall at City Hall and bring it out to events. And Susan Steinruck stood up in the back and said, "Hey, how about we do all of this stuff and then we include like a Tolowa or a Native American, just in general, local sort of interpretive center in all of this to sort of like a lean into the cultural tourism in that regard and to share Tolowa culture, Native American culture, as being very much a part of our culture here in
It
Del Norte.
is.
And that took off and became a thing, and it was like a great idea. I like this as well out of Tolowa Dunes, other than the teepee reference. But
well, I am not trying. I apologize for that.
But to be out someplace like that and to actually be able to experience like firsthand, because right now they've got signs up with little drawings and things like that. And
Yeah, but if you could just actually put the plank houses or whatever you want to call them, I don't know what they're called.
that's what the plank houses. They're houses made out of planks, like redwood planks. That's what they built.
They don't have.
You ever been to Margaret Keating School in Klamath?
Yes.
They've got one right out in front of Margaret Keating, kind of
Oh,
across
I guess
the
I've
parking
never
lot there.
noticed.
Yeah,
I'll have
it's
to
right
go
at the
look
side.
at that.
But that's a wonderful idea. What other ways do you see like to okay, let's do this. Economic development. Tourism, of course, is big. Is that the only thing we can do here?
At this point, I think it is right now.
Yeah.
And the reason why is because, I mean, look what we have to offer here. You know, I mean, there's endless trails in the Redwoods. There's the most pristine river in the United States right here. Mm-hmm. Okay. And then we have our cultures here. And I mean, what goes along with that? We've got the Audubon Society that apparently comes up here. We've got 431 species of birds in Del Norte County.
Wow.
We've got kayakers that love to do the kayak thing on the rivers.
Mm-hmm.
We've got bicyclists. You know, I mean, we even had a whole 150 of them come in, or 300, I guess, that one year.
Oh, when they were coming, yeah, right,
Yeah.
right.
So, I mean, I just see endless ideas that can result from this economic thing, or this tourism thing. But the thing is that, you know, the other thing is that you want to bring people into town that, to make it fun, like I'd like to see at least a parade of some sort every 3 months. You know, okay. So let's take an example.
Okay.
So this sounds kind of silly, but like the Audubon Society, if we wanted to attract those people up here, we'd have a bird festival. But not just one bird. We would have 431 different species, dressed up people walking down
The bird parade.
I love that.
the bird parade. There you go.
No, I see what you're saying. Just to like make a bigger deal and a louder noise about what we have here around all the time. And
But
bring
make
those
it
folks-
fun, you know? I mean, I've been to 10 different countries. I've been through all different states in the United States. And you go to these things and you're like, oh, God, we should do something like that here, you
Right,
know?
right.
And you have to go outside the box
Yeah.
in order to create a box.
Yeah, good point. You can't build a box from inside.
No. What will it
think
look
so.
like?
Well,
Yeah, I know. It's like, unless you're a mime, maybe you can do it that way. So what's gotten in the way of us like leaning into the tourism thing? Because it seems like that's been a deal for as long as I can, the last 20 years or so.
I just don't think there's enough go-getters out there. I mean, I'm not getting any younger myself, right?
You know what?
I'm not getting any younger. So, I mean, I couldn't head up a big parade because I have the energy, but I mean, you got to get people to work together.
Yeah.
But, you know, the other thing that's really bothering me here in our county is how filthy it is. It is.
What's your stance on Proposition 1?
Huh?
Proposition 1, the encampment proposition that will be on the statewide ballot this year.
Well, I think you got to look into that a little bit deeper. Because I don't know what is that?
Something about I shouldn't have brought it up unless I could quote it. Would you, if you're like, if there's
But
a
they're advertising it as a
veteran,
veteran thing.
is it a veteran thing? Really? Is that
that's
what's
the
coming
whole
across?
thing. I just came from Sacramento. I was down there this weekend, so they're advertising it as a veteran thing.
Huh.
And so that's the Proposition 1 needs to be well looked. I haven't even read it yet. I've got to look right into it.
What I've understood about it is that if it's you're within a certain distance to a public place, meaning like a school or I don't know, something else, some other sensitive public place where you might be seen as a homeless person, and this is your encampment, then that gives them the right to come in and tear it down and roust you. That's what I've taken it to mean, and it's just it seems like it's a statewide initiative to address
first
blight.
off, we got to clean up this place.
We're living right in the middle of it right here too. You know.
The 5th district is the
Yep.
pigsty of the county, I think. I mean, I was sick to my stomach walking door to door, seeing the streets and the garbage, and I don't know. It's like everybody here mentally ill because we don't pick up after ourselves. You know, I don't know what's gonna take to get that mess cleaned up, but it's got to go. It has absolutely got to go.
Yep.
And then the other thing that's issue in our county is our roads and our streets. They got to be fixed. And we've got to pay the cops starting wage at $30 an hour, topping out at $40.
Okay. Then, as per your number 2 point here on your 2 sheet, fights against unnecessary taxes. How do you pay for those things?
That's a very good question, and
Thank
I'm
you.
so happy that you asked.
I feel like I've been set up.
Which one do you want me to tell you how to pay for first?
Okay, let's start with the police officers.
Okay, very good. Very good. So, a few years ago, they basically ended the Borrow Ranch program. That was a $1.5 million budget. They just shut down the juvenile hall. That's an $800,000 budget. Okay, now we got $2.3 million. Now I know that some of that money was coming from other counties, but the thing is you better find out where the rest of that money went, because there's no reason why our sheriff's department should not. Those people should be starting at $30 an hour, because let's look at it. I think they start at $22 an hour.
Wow.
Yeah. $22 an hour. You take a third away for taxes, insurance, and whatnot else. So what is that? That's
It's about 14 bucks an hour.
$14 an hour to put your life on the line?
Dang. Yeah.
No.
Right.
No,
Right.
no.
It's almost disrespectful at that point.
Yeah. Yeah.
Apparently and here's the other thing. Lake County, Tehama, Butte County, Siskiyou. They're all small counties.
Yeah. Yeah.
So they're paying their cops $30 an hour to start. There's no reason why we can't. Here's the problem. You've got department heads making $226,000 a year. That has got to stop. See, now
Okay, but the argument against that is that you've got to be able to pay that in order to attract the people with the expertise to do that job.
You know what? That's not accurate. I mean, the thing is we live. Do you think you need $15,000 a month to live here in Del Norte County? Do you? That's a yes or no question.
No, it's not a yes or no question. Don't do that to me. That's very disingenuous. If I were what do you call him, a cop? If I were a law enforcement person, and even a young, right out of the academy, and I'm living someplace else in Sacramento or someplace else in California, and I look at the jobs that I could find, and I saw one that was this far up here and $15,000 a year less, no, I wouldn't look twice at that. Why would I? Growing up here, that's a different thing, but we don't exist just all like in the hermetically sealed thing. How do you attract somebody in from out of the
But
community?
why would you want to? Okay, well, first off, okay, so the $15,000, that's for department head.
Okay,
that's not for cops.
okay,
but there's no rationale that our department heads are making that kind of money, because.
Do you know what they make in other counties?
But Paul, here's the problem: is this county isn't. Here's the problem: this county isn't other counties.
No, it's not. You're exactly right.
So why would we want to bring people up here?
So you're saying to hire from within Del Norte County because we have lower expectations?
No. That's not.
Because that's valid, but you know.
No. Well, let's just put it this way: one department head that I know of, she's making $226,000 a year.
Mm-hmm.
Katie Mix doesn't make that much, and she's got 4 years of college under her belt plus been a DA for I don't know how many years. So why would you pay somebody $226,000 a year to push paper when your life isn't even on the line? Number one. Number two, most of the time that department has to be, people have to come in and straighten it out.
It's true. That's true. Yeah, no, I get what you're saying. I do. I just think that a world in which bosses don't make the most, it's kind of a strange expectation to level against any entity.
I blame Del Norte County for allowing that to get out of control, because that's just, it's so out of control. And what do we have to show for it? Because those people are the ones that are making all the big decisions around here.
Yeah, true.
Okay? And we have nothing to show for it.
Okay, all right. So finding, you just want to find the tax funds? Okay, all right.
We've got the money. We might have to cut back on something. We might have to stop these people that are making $200,000 a year, no more raises. Let's freeze their wages. Okay. Until we can start creating revenue for this county. We're never going to create revenue for this county until that downtown area gets straightened out. And the reason that it's such a mess is because all those empty buildings are tied up in probate.
Really? All of them?
All the empty buildings, yes.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay. So what would you do to let me do this. Here we are. It is, oh my God. It is 1:45 is the time. You're tuned to KFUG Community Radio. Paul Kritz. Amanda Doctor is here as well. Although you're not saying anything. That's okay. I didn't mean to do that.
Are you ready for Supervisor? You just like it.
Not this cycle.
Yeah.
Stay tuned.
Play it
You better
safe.
start coming to the meetings and get.
She's been there. She's been playing it safe. I'm running for supervisor. I'm going to stop saying things.
You should
You need to get up there and start being passionate about your issues.
She has been, in fact, just this
Gosh.
last year. Yes, very much so. So we're speaking with Linda Sutter, who's candidate for District 5 Supervisor, Del Norte County, trying to unseat the heretofore seated Dean Wilson. So I'm sorry. Okay, so downtown, how would you develop? You've got these buildings. They're in probate. They're just sitting there. It's so funny. Anyway, I don't know.
Go ahead, say it.
There was a recording. There's a gig that is an off and on sort of gig that I do with the Historical Society. They have a drawer full of cassette tapes with historical recordings on them, and they want them digitized. And so we bring them over here and play them into the computer and digitize them. It's been a while since we did that, back before COVID kind of shut that down. But I have Ethan Redwood Voice. I want to stick on that gig. But one of the first things that I digitized, it was a couple of tapes, big long thing. It was broadcast on radio, not KPOD, but the other KDIA. I can't remember what the other station was that was downtown. And they broadcast a big meeting, and this is city, county. It's an ad hoc kind of joint powers thing after the tsunami in '64. And this was a public meeting that was broadcast to the community because it was basically laying out, here's how we're going to rebuild. And we want to rebuild in such a way, and this is what got me, in such a way to address some of the shortfalls, some of the shortcomings of downtown. And those shortcomings in 1964 were listed as unoccupied buildings, everybody going elsewhere to do their shopping, going to bigger cities out of it's the same thing.
Pass didn't go anywhere.
Did not change a thing. So, and a brief aside, that's what a foot mall will do for your town. But anyway, bring back 2nd Street, I say. But that was, it's been endemic, these problems with downtown Crescent City, going back to the previous iteration of downtown before the tsunami. What would you do? What would you do to free up those buildings, to get people downtown, to reinvigorate downtown?
Okay, so one of the things that I would propose is that to attract businesses is to exempt them from tax for a couple of years for a new business. And then, that's one of the things.
I don't even know how much would that save a business? I have no clue.
Probably a lot. It depends on what the business is, right?
Is that what determines your tax rates, or is it more the size of the building that you're in, or I don't know what it is. What is the tax?
That's probably a tax deduction.
And what is the tax that you would be exempted from, even?
From the city tax.
Which city tax?
Crescent City tax.
I know which city we live in, but what tax are you to? Sales tax?
Yeah.
Okay.
No.
No?
No, the taxes that they have to pay on their business.
Okay, that's what I'm not sure. What are those taxes and how much are they?
I don't know how much they have to pay. I mean, you have a business, right? You do your taxes, right?
Yes.
Okay, so
But I don't pay anything to the county for the privilege of doing business here. We do the what do they call unsecured property tax or whatever it is that you have to pay just for the stuff,
Oh.
And then of course property tax, but that's
Well, there's
anybody.
some kind of tax. I'm not. They paid. It might be the sales tax that they're paying. I don't know. I just know that they have to pay taxes.
Everybody's got to pay taxes. That's true.
There's something to be said for making it easier for businesses to get started up.
Right.
I think.
Yeah, because I've
Absolutely.
heard that, like in New York, I think they offered like a 5-year plan that they
Oh, wow, to let
exempted
people-
businesses from having to pay taxes.
Because I like what's been going on in downtown since the Divas down there and their Friday nights and the things happening they seem like a lot of traffic and the cafe we have now, which just blows me away that we have an actual cafe.
Yeah.
I'm just it's like
But I like to see more.
yeah, sure. It's like it's almost there. It's like it's got what it needs to build upon. It feels
Yeah,
like.
but I think it could be better, and I think it could be, they're going to have, look at Anateca. They changed the whole look of the front, right? The front store or the front of the building.
Right.
And that's what needs to be done to all of them.
Yeah.
Those buildings have not been taken care of.
I'd love to see, the old Daly's building and the old Ben Franklin building, turned into something good. Those are such good locations, and they're gorgeous buildings, and
Yeah.
we could do good stuff there.
Yeah.
I just don't know what the barriers are to that.
I think the barriers
Well,
at this
right
point
now
that they've been
it's in
sitting.
court, so you don't have to worry about it.
I think also they've been sitting empty for a long time.
Well,
So-
some of those buildings have got real serious mold problems.
Yeah.
In Del Norte, no way.
Well,
The problem is that, when these people have these buildings, nobody goes, it's my been belief, and I could be absolutely wrong, is that the fire department would go through the buildings and they would, do occasional code checks on things for electricity or whatever, but
again, being downtown, something I never saw.
yeah.
Steve Wakefield walk in and want to look at our fire hydrant, and that was it.
Well, something's got to change downtown, because when people sell their buildings and then someone new comes in, and Glenn's is a fine example of that, and for years,
Yep.
he can't get going.
Yeah.
And why? Why is that?
Because he's got to bring a building up 50 years worth of code.
That's right. That ain't right. That is not right.
Yeah.
That has to change.
What about outside of city? Do you have the tourism, I guess, is the vision for outside of the city, right? Or are there any other economic developers that you see kind of laying fallow in Del Norte County in general? Other than, we've got the most beautiful place in the world, and you can walk all over and find yourself someplace alone in nature, which is rare in the 21st
That is
century,
rare.
right?
We don't have a lot of places, I guess, on the outside. I
Right.
mean, the harbor's starting to. There's a doctor that came to town. He wants to lease the old England Marine,
Oh, okay.
and he wants to put porta pints there.
The doctor, the guy who owns Porta Pints now. Yeah.
Yeah.
Ooh, that'd be cool.
Yeah, I think so
That'd be
too.
pretty cool, actually. Yeah, the harbor's
Right.
looking kind of sweet if you get down there. I think just looking at what I knew the harbor to have been in the past, and then looking at it now. My wife and I go down there in the morning, and just about every morning, and walk around. It's really
Yeah,
nice.
it is pretty down there.
All right, we are. Let's see, what are we coming up on? Just about 7 minutes away from 7 o'clock. So, 7 minutes away from 2 o'clock. 2 minutes away from 7 o'clock. Take your choice.
What's time?
What is time? So let's work toward wrapping up here, Linda. So what would you say? What's your elevator pitch for voting for Linda Sutter to elect to the Board of Supervisors?
So my elevator pitch is this: you've given all the other people many, many chances.
That's good.
And where have they gotten you? Absolutely nowhere. This town is crumbling. The streets are a disaster. The 5th district is a disaster. It's a disaster that needs FEMA to come up here and clean it up. And I'm just telling you what, if I'm elected, there's going to be big change. And it's going to be positive change. And we're going to get this town, this county, this city back where it needs to be. And that's one thing I can guarantee that will happen.
Wow. Do you attach any significance to being a woman running for this board?
Yes, I do.
Mm-hmm.
Seeing how they've treated Valerie, it's disgusting. I just want to jump right out of my chair sometimes. But, and like 1st District, he's gone unopposed. I'd like to find women from the 1st District to come forward this next go around. And
what is it that a woman board of supervisors would do differently? What do you think? What's the perspective? What's the change?
Well, I think the difference is that we have, I think from what I see, women have a tendency of getting in there and actually doing the work where men do not. I worked in men's fields all my life.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
And I'd sit there and I'm like, you and I have the same job, but you can't do nothing?
That's kind of what Valerie said, right? No, we're about like not that specifically, but that she'd find herself in a room full of women, and what they were all doing was getting down to the task at hand.
Yeah.
Right, and not other things, right? And that seems that kind of focus, and let's all work together and focus on this thing.
Valerie almost started crying one day, and I said, "Don't you do it."
Oh, wow.
I'm sitting in the audience. Don't you dare.
Mm-hmm.
Do not do it. Because I'm going to tell you something. When I walk into that closed session, there ain't going to be, the only tears that's going to be crying is Chris Howard and Darren Short.
Right on. Okay. All right. Hey, Monique's back. Hello, Monique. Linda Sutter, thank you. Thank you for coming in and talking today. And what's up next for you in the campaign? You still going door to door? You still doing all that stuff? Pressing the flesh, kissing the babies?
Pretty much covered the county door to door.
Yeah,
I mean, as much as I could without walking and things. But this was the last thing I really had to do.
Oh, wow.
Because it's been something every week.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. We've been trying to get you in here for a couple of weeks too. So yeah, I know you've been busy. That's okay.
Yeah, it's crazy busy. Plus the lawsuit too.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. Well, thank you very much. This has been great. We've recorded this, and I will post it. And you'll be the last for District 5, I guess. We've had everybody on. So
all right.
everybody can sit and listen to all three things and make an informed decision for the election coming up March 5th. All right, Linda Sutter, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Give her a hand, everybody. Linda Sutter.
Good to meet you.
Thanks for having me, Paul. I really appreciate it.
Oh, thanks for coming in again. That's wonderful.
Yeah.
All right, let me find what have I got lined up here? So we got vinyl. Yes, I do have vinyl. I've got Aerosmith ready to go. Because we are on the record. You're tuned to KFUGLP Crescent City 101.1 FM online, kfugradio.org.